Welcome back to episode 130 of the ATD Baseball Podcast, live from Dodger Stadium. If you can't tell by the seats behind me, no, I am not behind a green screen. I am at beautiful Dodger Stadium right now in the middle of an all New York homestand. We just finished 3 games against the Yankees, your World Series rematch. We'll touch on that, of course, right off the top here, but tonight we open a 4 game series with the New York Mets, and yes, we did play them last week in Queens, lost 2 out of 3. But this is the first time that the Mets are returning to Dodger Stadium since the National League Championship Series, which I remember that very vividly because the final game, of course, was played here. Dodgers had the celebration on the field that won the pennant and everything, but that's not what we're here to discuss today. But so all New York homestand, and I gotta say right off the top, I like it. I like when you have both of these teams come in at the same homestand. It gives like that New York feel to it a little bit. I like it. Um, Same cast of characters as always. Myself and Kyle. Before we get into everything that we want to discuss today, and there isn't much because not much happened this week, but we do have things that we want to discuss. Kyle, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. Obviously, I'm just glad the Yankees salvaged one of those games. That's what I'm going to come down to. But no, overall, man. I mean, there's not too much to touch on this week. But as always, I'm doing okay. How are you doing, man?
Doing well. Obviously, I mean, if you could take 2 out of 3 from an opponent you faced in the World Series last year, I'll take that. And including Saturday where it was a complete blowout, 18-2. The only 2 runs the Yankees scored was the Judge home runs, which that of course got everybody on their feet also. But yeah, doing well, doing well. We're in June. The months are flying, man. It's crazy. It seems like opening day was just yesterday, and now I've completed pretty much 2 months of the season here already at Dodger Stadium. It's going by fast, but um, just trying to enjoy every minute of it being here still. But doing well. We do have topics that we want to discuss today. We have, of course, we're going to recap a little bit of Dodgers Yankees. Like I said, at the time of this recording, they have completed their 3 game series. We're going to touch on 2 kids that are getting called up. One that already did, and Cole Young, he had a big moment for the Mariners the other night. And then Cal, see, I knew I was going to butcher this last name. Caglione, see, I saved it. He got called up the other night for the Royals, so that'll be fun. And Randy Johnson got announced today that his number 51 will be retired by the Seattle Mariners. Well deserved. But uh, we'll start up the top here with Dodgers Yankees. The first time these two teams had met up since last year's Fall Classic. And um, I'll just start from the Dodgers' perspective first. Um, if you would have told me going into Friday night that Max Fried, no, let me start over again. I don't like that. If you would have told me coming in here Friday night before the series started between the Dodgers and Yankees that Ryan Yarbrough and Landon Knack would outpitch Yoshinobu Yamamoto and Max Fried, I would have said you're crazy. But that's exactly what happened. Now, Landon Knack, to his defense, he had a lot of run support Saturday afternoon. It
Mhm.
was 10-0 after 2 innings. So it was pretty easy for him to kind of pitch a little bit more freely and not be afraid to pitch in the zone. But Ryan Yarbrough had like the game of his life yesterday. I think he pitched into the 7th inning. If not, um, he got pretty close. But the Dodgers took 2 out of 3. But that if you would have told me that Knack and Yarbrough would outpitch the Dodger Yankees aces, I would have said you're crazy. Super impressive with the Dodgers what they were able to do over the weekend, taking 2 out of 3, including getting punched in the mouth right away Friday night when the Dodgers were down 4-1. Judge hits the home run like the in his like second pitch that he sees is dead center. No doubt about it. The whole freaking the Dodger Stadium turned into Yankee Stadium for like 15 seconds. All these Yankee fans are jumping up. They're going crazy. And the thing that I like about it, there was a lot of Dodger fans that appreciate how great Aaron Judge is. I like that, and I did too.
Mhm.
Um, of course, Shohei Ohtani responds, and then the Dodgers just come back and win the game. That was super, super impressive. And I mentioned it on my story, but Friday night, that had a feel of a lot of the Dodger postseason games last year. The crowd was into it. It was loud. It was crazy. And then, of course, the Dodgers, kind of like how they did a lot last postseason, they had to come back and win these games. That's exactly how it played out Friday night. And then Saturday, of course, a total beatdown on national television, I may add, by the way. You had Kevin Burkhardt, David Ortiz, and the two Yankee boys, Alex Rodriguez and Derek Jeter, down the left field line, watching the Yankees get absolutely pounded 18-2. And what message does that send to everybody? But the Yankees were able to salvage one Sunday night. DJ LeMahieu turning back the clock, getting 4 hits. What the hell was that? But I'm glad the Yankees were able to get one because listen, I was checking Yankees Twitter a lot over the weekend. They were not happy with Aaron Boone, with the guy who pitched on Saturday. I completely forget his name,
Will
but
Warren.
there you go.
Yeah.
Super impressive to get to Max Fried, give him his first loss because coming in here 7-0, had only given up one earned run or none in all his starts, and then he gets lit up here for 6, and he was pitching well. That's
Mhm.
the thing that was most impressive. Like he was pitching well, and then he gave up the lead in the fourth inning. But the coolest thing that I saw this weekend, Friday night, I got to see Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge both hit home runs in the same inning.
Mhm.
That was freaking cool. Listen, we see Judge and Otani on a daily basis. I know people are probably going to think we're biased when I say this, but it's absolutely true. Shohei Otani and Aaron Judge are the two best players in the sport. Now, whether you want to debate who's 1 and 2, that's up to you. Obviously, we're going to be biased because we see our guys every day, and we have a soft spot for both of them. But um, the two greatest showmen in the sport right now put on a display. Even though the Yankees lost 2 out of 3, Aaron Judge performed extremely well. Had a couple doubles. He hit like 3 home runs this series. But the fireworks were on display. But super impressive by the Dodgers to get 2 out of 3 with the starting pitchers that they threw out there, Landon Knack, Tony Gonsolin, and yes, Yamamoto pitched bad on Sunday, but they won the series anyways. And then just getting the offensive contributions from everybody. Will Smith, Andy Pajes, Freddie Freeman continue. I think can we say Freddie Freeman is not just a Met killer; he's also a Yankee killer. Continue to hit the ball well. He's just an NL East, AL East killer at this point. Played extremely well again. I also thought it was funny that Sunday night yesterday, Tim Hill struck out Freddie Freeman. I think like on four. I think he struck him out yesterday, and I
Yeah.
thought that was kind of funny. I'm like, there's an alternate universe where Tim Hill comes out of the bullpen instead of Nestor Cortez in that ninth inning, in that 10th inning of the World Series last year, and maybe things are different. But I just thought that was kind of ironic and kind of funny. But um, super impressive by the Dodgers. They took 2 out of 3 from a Yankee team that was playing extremely well, and they still are. I'm not saying they're not, but they came into Anaheim, swept the Angels. Took care of business against the Colorado Rockies. They were coming in here probably feeling pretty good about themselves, and the Dodgers were able to take 2 out of 3. Super impressive. That's my perspective on the Dodgers.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and it all makes sense. And I'll touch on Judge and Otani last because there's a point that I want to make to that. But going over these games, going into this series, I expected the Yankees and the Dodgers to split 2 of these games, right? And then whoever got that first one, it was the first game that I had circled.
Yep.
That first game was very important. And obviously the Yankees, I mean, and this is the thing, I can't be mad about that loss. The Yankees offense came out and they did what I asked them to do. And it's Max Fried on the bump. That's who you want on the mound in that situation, especially this year without Garrett Cole. So that loss does not bother me. It doesn't. The second game I chalk up as a loss already because it's Will Warren. He's an inexperienced pitcher. He's never pitched against the Dodgers before. This is the type of kid who's going to get lit up at Dodger Stadium. And unfortunately, he did it on the national stage. But that third game impressed me because this obviously this Yankees lineup continues to hit going into that third game, and Ryan Yarbrough. I mean, come on, pitching against his former team, and I find it kind of funny that he picked up his World Series ring from last year.
I hope we didn't show that to that clubhouse.
But um, no, so overall, I'm not mad about this series. I'm not, because I look at it this way. The Dodgers are the team to beat in Major League Baseball. And for the fact that the Yankees could have taken 2 out of 3, and in my opinion, if everything would have worked out the way that it should have, the way it was cruising to, the Yankees should have took 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers. Because that first game, Max Fried should have went deeper and not given up all those runs. But that's just it's baseball. It happens. Your star pitchers get lit up from time to time. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not too worried about it. It's the Dodgers. If it was the Rockies that Max Fried was getting lit up on, I'd be a little worried. But no, overall, I thought it was a good series. Obviously, it's not the way that I wanted it to go, but I can't complain with the Yankees at least scratching out one of those wins. Um, and Ryan Yarborough's been an absolute dog for us. He's been exactly what we need, especially with all the injuries to that starting rotation. Yarborough stepped up and he's contributing at a high level like we need him to.
He made Brian Yarbrough yesterday made, I think Otani, Freeman, and Teoscar combined. I think went over 14 against him yesterday.
Yeah,
You're not going to win many games when that happens.
no, and that's the type of thing. Like this is why I loved when the Yankees picked up Yarborough. I've been watching Yarborough since his days in Tampa Bay. This
I
is
was
the
disappointed when the Dodgers got rid of him last year. They
yeah.
just dumped him for nothing,
Exactly. I mean, the Dodgers are the type of team. See, this is where the league can take advantage of the Dodgers. The
right?
Dodgers dump off some of these guys that they don't have room for, but they're still very good players. And Ryan Yarbrough is a perfect example. And I'm just glad that the Yankees snatched him up, and because we needed him, we needed him, and we still do. I love Yarbrough. I thought he was an absolute dog down in Tampa Bay, and then obviously when he was with the Dodgers, he is that type of guy that if you need a spot start, Yarborough's your guy.
Yep.
He's going to come in and he's going to give you quality innings, and he gave you 6 quality innings against the Dodgers. I believe he only gave up 1 earned run. You know, that's the type of guy that I love out of Ryan Yarbrough. So I'm glad Boone went that way. I wish he would have managed that second game a little bit better. There was no reason. I already knew the Yankees were going to lose that game. I was fine with it. But don't get embarrassed like that. Come on. Make some better moves out of the bullpen. Kind of just, your pitcher. Will Warren is an inexperienced pitcher who's going up against a star studded lineup like the Dodgers. And you mean to tell me that after he gave up those first couple of runs in the first inning, you're not like scurrying? Like, come on.
They
So
punted that game away.
exactly, they did. It was, it's whatever it is, what it is, and you move on. It's a game that was played in May.
Right.
It's not going to mean too much, and it's against the Dodgers. I'm okay with losing that game. Um, but yeah, no. Overall, it's always exciting when Yankees and Dodgers play baseball. I had a hell of a time in the World Series last year, even though I hated the result. It was still good baseball, and whenever these two teams meet, it's always you know prime time. It's always the game you want to watch. But my last and final point before we move on here, and I think it's an important one. Um, Obviously, we all know Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani are obviously the two best players in the league, and they're generational type players. These are two players that will walk the halls of Cooperstown one day. These two guys are our modern day duos, right? It's that opponent that you want to play every day. It is the Randy Johnson going up against Pedro Martinez. It is A Rod going to Boston to play up against Big Poppy. Those. This is exactly what that is, and I don't want that to go unnoticed. I really don't, because these two players are generational, and we may never even see hitters like this again. Shohei Ohtani, also, Babe Ruth played against plumbers, things like that. Shohei Ohtani is the greatest two-way player to ever walk this earth. You look at Aaron Judge and the numbers that he's putting up. We have not seen a right-handed hitter, or honestly, a hitter like this since Barry Bonds. And I don't think anybody is really comprehending that. Like, whenever you look at the comment section on Major League Baseball and Instagram and things like that, it's always well, why are you glazing these two guys? Well, what the fuck do you expect? These are the two greatest players on earth,
Right.
and they play in the two biggest markets. And I think that is so important. The fact that Aaron Judge is representing the entire East Coast and New York City, and you have Shohei Ohtani representing the West Coast in Los Angeles. And then when these two guys come together and they play against each other, it is electric, and that's exactly what Friday was when Judge hit a bomb and then Ohtani answered right back. That is it's what you expect and it's what you want to see. So again, it is my weekly reminder to not overlook these guys. And please, 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 I don't care who you're a fan of, enjoy these two guys playing baseball. Seriously, because we're lucky to be in the middle of it right now. So that is my 2 cents on that. And yeah, just move on. The Yankees are going back home. They're off today. Um, and then they start a series against Cleveland, and then we will welcome Boston into New York for the first time in the 2025 season. So I'm excited for that. So yeah, no, it's good vibes, and I wish the result was different over the weekend, but I can't complain because it was primetime baseball. It's what I was excited to see. So that's my 2 cents.
Absolutely, and you said don't check, and you said go check the comments. Maybe don't check them now, because the month has changed to June, and there's a lot of sensitive people out there that don't like a certain thing that's going around every year. So maybe don't check the comments right now.
That's true.
Anyways, sorry, I had to get that in there. I know,
All
oh,
good.
piece of shit again. All right, um, two kids made their major league debuts. Or well, one of them got called up, had a big moment, and then the other one is being called up. I believe he'll be in there today. I'm not sure, but we'll find out. But Cole Young and Jack, I'm never gonna get this last name right.
Um,
Caglione. See,
there
see,
we go.
see, see, see. I get it. I always figured it out. Cole Young and Jack Caglione making their debuts. Cole Young had a big moment for the Mariners. I believe it was Saturday night. First game he gets called up and he hits a walk-off home run. I mean a walk-off base hit for his, and I believe that was his first base hit if I'm not mistaken.
I
That was
believe
the
it.
first hit of his career, and it was a walk-off to beat the Twins at home Saturday night. So congratulations to Cole Young. You can't script your first game any better than that. You come up to the plate with a chance to win and you deliver. Man, I would feel so many emotions if I was that kid, man. I would be pumping my chest. I'd be all excited and stuff. But the big one here is Jack Caglione. He's been tearing it up in AAA, and I think from all the comments that I saw, um, a lot of people were surprised and excited that he was actually getting called up. So I'm excited to see what this kid's all about. But uh, we've been getting a lot of youngsters making their debuts this year, and again, it's great for baseball, man. The sport is getting younger, the sport is getting faster, but um, excited for these two kids making their major league debuts.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll start with Cole Young here. I mean, what the hell? Like, come on. I don't know if you could possibly have a better major league debut. I mean, you hit a walk off single to win the game, and that's just you're already feeling all the emotions. You're probably not even over the fact that you're in the show. You're sitting there, you're taking it all in, and then you come up to the plate in such a spot like that, and you come through. That's intense, man. And I could never imagine a feeling like that. But it's very cool, and I'm excited to see the rest of him. I really am. I think he's a really good prospect. He has a lot of raw talent that I think that it'll kind of curate to Major League Baseball. So now the other one, Jack Caglione, he is so I was doing some research on him before hopping on here, and obviously when he was called up, I knew we were going to talk about it on the podcast. So I kind of wanted to get familiar with him because I'll be honest with you, this isn't a guy who I was too, key on. So after doing my research, he was obviously the number 6 overall pick in last year's draft, which I think that's impressive in itself that he's already up to the show. However, he's a left-handed hitter. He's a natural first baseman. Um, he's seen time in the minors in the outfield, so we'll see where that goes with Kansas City. But what makes this kid so cool to watch and so interesting is his power, man. This
Yeah.
kid's got a shit ton of power. And I think that is going to be so exciting to add a piece like that into the Kansas City lineup. You know, this lineup needs a jolt, and obviously their season is not going exactly how they wanted it to. This kid is hitting 322, 389, and 593 as a combined slash line with 15 homers in 38 games. Now, those are between AA Northwest Arkansas and AAA Omaha. So I'm excited to see this kid, obviously, after doing the research and seeing what he's all about and kind of watching, watching some quick highlights and stuff. I'm excited to see this kid in that Kansas City lineup, man. I really am. You got Pascantino, you got Bobby Witt, you got Salvi, who's still producing. You got some bumpers in there, and I think Caglione is going to add nicely into that lineup. Now, I'm not expecting him to go out there and make fireworks right away. He's a rookie. He was just drafted last year. He's a young kid, but if he if he is producing and kind of going into what he's all about, he's oozing with power, man. And I think him adding him into this Kansas City lineup, I think is going to be huge. So I'm excited for this kid. I really am, and I'm definitely going to be tuning into his debut.
Yeah, the youth movement in Kansas City continues. Like you mentioned, they're bringing all these guys up, and again, out with the old and in with the new. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
Every year, these kids come along, and you see them get drafted. You watch the draft every year. You see these kids get drafted, and then you kind of forget about them a little bit, especially if they're not your team. You
yeah,
kind of forget about them a little bit, and then most of these guys, especially the top picks, they tear it up in the minor leagues, and they're up. A lot of these guys are up quickly now. Like it also for some of these guys, it only takes maybe like a year or two for these guys to get called up to the big league. So very excited for that. The youth movement in baseball continues, and nothing wrong with that, man. Nothing wrong with making more stars and producing more great baseball players everywhere. You know, it's not just about the Dodgers and Yankees, man. Like there's 28 other teams that are trying to make stars and produce their own stars too. And again, the youth movement, like I mentioned, is continuing, and it's good for the sport. Nothing wrong with staying young.
absolutely.
Last topic here before we get out of here. Like I said, we really kind of had to scrap for stuff. Um, Randy Johnson, congratulations. His number 51 is being retired by the Seattle Mariners. I believe later this summer, if not next year. I'm not really sure, but the announcement came out today. He will be the fifth Mariners player to have their jersey number retired. He will be joining Ken Griffey Jr., Edgar Martinez, Ichiro Suzuki, and every major league team, if you haven't figured it out yet, has the number 42 Jackie Robinson retired. So he will be the fifth member. And I was thinking about it right now. That is a pretty good, like, like a class of numbers to have retired. Edgar Martinez, Ken Griffey Jr., Ichiro, and Randy Johnson. That's your starter, your outfielder, two outfielders, and your third baseman right there. That is pretty damn good right there for the Mariners. But um, also too, it kind of made me think: how come the Mariners waited this long?
Hmm.
Like I thought Randy Johnson was one of those guys that should have been a little sooner. And now again, was I dying for the Mariners to retire his number? No, because I'm not paying attention every day. But when I saw it, I'm like, they haven't done that already. That's the first thing that immediately came to my mind. But um, he was traded, of course, to Seattle from the Expos in 1989. He had his breakout year that year when he went 19-8 with a 3.24 ERA in his first of six 300 plus strikeout seasons, and with um, the Mariners, his overall record was 130 and 74 with two recorded saves. He had a 3.42 ERA, and he had 51 complete games with the Seattle Mariners and striking out 2,162 in his 247 starts, which is crazy, in games that he pitched. And he had 266 starts. And he remains one of the all-time franchise leaders in strikeout. He's second, and he's third in wins, starts, and innings for that team. incredible. So,
So, and,
congratulations to Randy Johnson, the big unit.
and real quick, like that's a Hall of Fame career alone with the
Right,
Mariners.
right, exactly. He also played for like five other teams after that.
Exactly, you did. Yeah,
Won a
and,
ring in Arizona, obviously. But
yeah, and this is another thing, and you hit it right on the head with your first opening statement. That's a pretty good company of numbers to be in, right? And it really makes you think. And this was my first thought, and I don't know why my mind went there when I heard this announcement, but how the hell have the Mariners never even been to a World Series before?
yeah,
It, I mean, it's just crazy the amount of talent that they have had.
they've had some great players come through there.
They have, and in recent years, it just seems like they can't put it together. And a few years ago, I remember very vividly coming in here, and when we were doing the AL West projections, we said this is going to be a make or break year for the Mariners.
Yep.
Their off season wasn't the greatest, and we all wished that they did more, and it kind of showed. And now we're in this rigmarole yet again with the Mariners. But off of that topic and on to Randy Johnson here. Obviously, there's not much that I have to say that people don't already know. Randy Johnson is one of the greatest pitchers that we have ever seen. He was so damn intimidating on that mound. I'm going to tell you one thing. I think if there's one pitcher in Major League history that I would not want to be facing up against, I think it might be Randy Johnson. I mean, look at his stature. This dude's like damn near 8 foot tall, lanky as hell, and he didn't give a fuck who you were. He was pounding that strike zone. This is
He
the type.
almost killed John Kruk at the All Star game, and he
I mean,
killed a bird in spring training.
I was just gonna say, and he killed a bird. Um, no, Randy Johnson. He embodied everything it meant to be a baseball player, and this is extremely well deserved. And he's just there's not much more I have to say. He's a Hall of Famer in the Mariners book, and he's a Hall of Famer in all of baseball, and it's definitely deserved. One of the greatest pitchers of all time, and I'm glad I got to watch a little bit of his career. I obviously didn't watch you know, the meat and potatoes of it, but no,
Even the
this
Yankees, a little too young for the Yankees, no.
yeah, I mean a little bit, but no, it's just there's not much more I have to say about him. He's extremely well deserved, and congrats to Randy Johnson.
Yeah, and you mentioned that just a second ago. Pitchers that I would least want to face. I'm with you. Now, the main part of it is because I'm left-handed. Yeah,
Hmm.
no thanks. I'm not taking a fastball to the ribs. No thanks. No thank you. But since we're on that topic, what other pitchers would you not want to face? Because I have another one off of my head. Pedro Martinez. No
Yeah,
thank you. No thank you. No
I was,
thanks.
yeah, I was gonna say Pedro, but
Mariano. No thank you.
to be a little bit different,
Garrett Cole.
he's up there. I would feel, if see, but then when you look at his personality, it's not as intimidating. Nolan Ryan is another one.
Yes, there you go.
Um, and another, actually, I'll be honest with you, and this might go underrated. Greg Maddux.
Yeah,
I think he's that. I'm telling you, man,
that's a sneaky good one right there.
it is,
He gets
and
overlooked.
he does. He really does because he was on all those good Braves teams and Cubs teams. But also too, like if I'm looking at closers, Gagne, man,
Gagne, yeah.
Gagne, yeah, I think
Even though I would be at a disadvantage because he was on the juice half the time, but still.
him and Mo were the two closers I was thinking of. But I now my
I might be a little biased with this one just because I saw his prime.
yeah,
Jansen. Kelly
yeah,
Jansen, prime Jansen, no thank you.
yeah,
Especially for me as a left-handed hitter with his cutter coming in. Fuck
yeah.
that. I'm not hitting that.
No, I get that. Now, if you want to go modern day, I'll give you Classe. I think Classe would be the one that I wouldn't want to face.
Yeah. Class A, um, another old one. I wouldn't want to face Trevor Hoffman. That's another one I wouldn't want to face.
Mm-mm.
Um,
Those bells out of that damn.
yeah, no thank you. You're already down 0-1 in the count before you even step in the box.
Exactly.
Um, How about yeah, modern day? That's a yeah. You took Class A. I would say Devin Williams, but
Not
thank
anymore, man.
thanks, Pete Alonso.
Okay, well then I'll put it this way: I still wouldn't want to face up against Devin Williams' changeup. I still think it's one of the best pitches in the game. His
That's fair.
changeup, it's disgusting.
I'll give you one. How about I'm gonna see him later tonight and probably a couple times this series. Edwin Diaz when he's right.
Yeah,
I don't want to see a slider. No
no,
thanks.
that's a good one.
Ah man, Blake
Yeah,
Trinan. I don't want to see Blake Trinan. There you go. I don't want to see his frisbee pitches.
this is a good. This is a good discussion. Darren O'Day.
Yeah.
Darren O'Day.
Uh, one of the Trevor Rogers, one of the brothers who
Yeah,
throws a submarine. Yeah, no thanks. Tim
that
Hill too. That's another one. Yeah, I
yeah,
can't hit that.
he's got that sidearm shit,
Yeah.
man. No, it's very interesting to whenever these topics come up and you can really go down a rabbit hole with them. You really can.
Yeah, there's probably a bunch of pitchers that we're missing right now. Bob Gibson, that's another one. You want to go old
Yeah,
school. Bob Gibson, Sandy Koufax, no thanks. Tom Seaver, no thank you. Another one I don't want on either. But I'm sure we're probably missing more and people are going to get all pissed off about it. So we'll probably stop naming players. Um, uh, I think that's going to do it for episode 130. A very quick one, but we
yeah,
touched on some things.
yeah. We still got a decent episode out of this, and I think I got an idea for a post tomorrow on our Instagram
There
with our
you go.
discussion. So
There you go.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
before we get out of here real quick, because like I said, I just mentioned to you a second ago, we're playing the New York Mets. So of course at my job, you work at a food stand. A lot of times somebody brings like the speaker to listen to music and stuff.
yeah.
And I've seen some people they bring like these big ass JBL speakers, like the ones that they should only be played like at big parties and stuff. So
Hmm.
they bring them. I got here like at maybe 2:30 and I was setting up things and I heard somebody walk in here literally right up behind me walking to go to their stand and he was playing My Girl by the Temptations. I'm like, "Listen, bro, like that's a great song, but not this week. Not this week. I don't need to hear that with Lindor here. Now obviously I don't think Lindor can even hear it all the way from up there, but I was like, "What? Can we have some like? Can we please have some self awareness of the opponent we're playing?" Now, granted, he probably doesn't even know that's Francisco Lindor's walk up song,
Yeah,
famously now at Citi Field in New York. But I'm like, all right, I don't need to hear that. And lastly, tonight, Tommy Edman bobblehead, your NLCS MVP against this same New York Mets team. I'm very excited for that. Very
yeah,
excited. Tommy Edman, a guy that we traded for a year ago, did not think he was going to win NLCS MVP and be like the fourth, fifth best player on the Dodger championship team. But I'm grateful, and he's going to get his flowers tonight, and he deserves the bobblehead he gets today. I can't wait to get it in about half hour.
absolutely.
All right, well, I think that's going to do it. Episode 130 in the books. Keep out for all our stuff. Thank you for the support once again, as always. Look out for our post. And I think soon we'll probably start discussing some All Star teams here because we're getting to the point where the voting should be opening up any week now. So
Yeah, I'm excited, man. We're getting there, but this season's going quick, man.
it
It
is going by quick.
really
I don't
is.
like it, but all right. Well, I'll see you back in my place next week.
Absolutely.
Adios.